In this section, I'm going to be talking about how. 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 The good book says that labor of the fool wearies him because he does not know how to get to the city. And that's where a couple of people are stuck. How do I go about this? How do I? First of all, I've given you the what. Then I talked about the who, the first part of the who. Okay, I talked about the what, I talked about the why, I talked about the first part of the who, your real self, the second part of the who, the ideal self. Now the how is this process, starting off with this process, because it is the who you are that informs your decisions, that informs your actions, that informs the strategy you adopt, that informs the why, informs these decisions. The why informs how you're going to go about it. So if you start off with how you're going to go about it without checking what is going to sustain it, it will not be sustainable, really. And if we are realistic, you see that's why some of these goals we said don't last, because we are in that place where we want to just get it done now, hit it off our list. I've lost 20 kg, and then you gain it back after the fasting. No. So the how is what we're going to strategies is what I'm going to be discussing in this video. So now I'll come back to myself. When I wanted to start off with weight loss, I had to check what have I been eating. What have I been eating? So I check what I've been eating, because some people have a stress relationship, a very negative, probably a negative 1.0 correlation with food and stress. So once they are stressed, they are all about the food. Once they are stressed, they don't sleep well, they don't rest well, they engage in activities that are self-sabotaging. So you can see my video on self-sabotage. I've shared that in my video. So the how now talks about your strategies. What have you been eating? I check what I've been eating in a lot of the parts of the world. Really, there have been genetically modified food. So sometimes we say I'm taking fruits, and we're really not taking the kind of fruits that are good for us. So some people love sugary fruits. I'm taking fruits, I have a large fruit intake, and they take a large quantity of fruit juice, pineapple, which is very sweet, and so many other sweet fruit juice. It could be natural fruit, and they're taking natural fruit, but the fiber content of their meals are lost. And I always try to encourage you, eat your colors. So for the purpose of this video and for the purpose of the people that asked, I'm going to be sharing some tips on a fasting regimen that may help you. So in this principle, there's something we call autophagy. Autophagy is AUTOPHAGY. What it means is that it is the process whereby your body breaks down and reabsorbs dead cells. Yes, and reabsorbs dead cells. So there are times when your body is overwhelmed, and then in fact it's supposed to even happen every day, really. But there are things that you can take. You can just Google it or check it up, whichever search app that you want to use, how the process of autophagy. So it's a natural process that has been input into the body, but some people do not have it, progressing, doesn't happen naturally for some people. So they have to take things that help their body to boost that process. And that's why there are certain foods that we always encourage you to take. Now what happens now, the time is when you are in a process of, when you are in a fast, a time when you stay away from eating and allow the body to digest, and the cells that are not needed in the body, allow it to be absorbed back. So the body kind of does a refinery and absorbs back those cells, the nutrients, the things that are needed, and then passes out the ones that are not needed. I always also encourage, which is something I do, like I said, I'm just sharing, I encourage intermittent fasting and check your body system. How do you practice intermittent fasting, especially for women? So you check your cycle. My mentor taught me that you check your cycle, and I practiced it, and it worked a lot for me. So from the first day of my period to the fourth day, or the beginning of the menstrual flow, to the fourth day, once it gets to the fourth day, then I can start fasting. And I fast from then on until the 20th day after the flow. After the 20th day, I can do any form of fasting I want. After the 20th day, there are certain hormones that are released again into it, especially for a woman. Like I'm talking to women mostly. The men can do that. I've not tried it for men, but obviously, so there are hormones that are released back into the system that actually need nutrients for the body. So you may not need to do those dry fast, extended periods of fast. Because if you even check your body, you will notice that there are certain periods, it's like you just want to eat, even in between the fast or all the fasting. It's like your body is at a point where it cannot take it anymore, cannot take the starvation anymore. And then it begins to crave. There are certain periods, if you notice too, there are times when it seems like you're craving salty things. There are times when it seems like you're craving sugary things. So there are certain nutrients your body is craving per time. Remember, I talked about checking the WHO, knowing yourself, so there are certain nutrients your body is craving at that time. So it's important to check, and then I use that method of fasting, that method of intermittent fasting. Another method I do is 18 hours per day, which is what a lot of people practice, when they say they do 6 to 6, not eating anything till like 6, or don't eat anything. So you check what you eat. I like within the fasting period, sometimes I practice 18 hours per day. And then within the 6 hours that I have to eat, that's also important, because that's a point where your body is like in a shock mode, and anything you put in, it is ready to absorb it, and it absorbs it almost completely. So beyond just I fasted 18 hours, or I fasted 6 to 6, I fasted the whole day, and then when you're now breaking the fast, what your body is absorbing it, like it takes everything. So please check what you eat. You can talk with our nutritionist, our in-house. I'll drop her contact with her permission, so that you chat with her or chat with any nutritionist to help you check what you can eat while you fast. Try to add your greens. So another thing I do is my green tea. Now, some of these things, like I said, fasting is not just for the period of general corporate fasting or corporate starvation that some people do, or corporate staying away from food or staying away from whatever. It's also important to do that. Remember, I was talking about compounding effect, making sure that it becomes a habit. So there are periods, like on empty stomach, I try to take my warm lemon water, warm water. Very important. If you check the Asians, you notice that they drink a lot of teas, and they drink a lot of warm teas. I know that their weather is different from our weather. I'm not talking of the weather. I'm talking of how it affects the body, how it relates to the body. I don't encourage you to take anything cold once you have had something that is oily. Please stay away from it. Because what it does, it just goes in and congeals, and it takes a longer time for it to digest. And the longer food stays in the body, it just becomes putrid, and digestion doesn't, take place fast. Your body doesn't take what it needs when it needs. And if you're even the kind that also needs aid for digestion to take place, that's even the more reason why you should take warm water. Then I do a lot of green teas. So recently I even started taking black tea, Ugandan black tea, actually Kenyan black tea. So for my Kenyan fans out there, my Ugandan fans out there, thank you for having that. And it's really, I've been enjoying it. Thank you very much. So, but I take black tea and then green teas at night. So sometimes I kind of, sometimes it feels like I'm constantly on teas, because it's remember I did a research and I saw the ideal me, and I saw that person They take a lot of teas and they take a lot of smoothies. And I realized, oh, wow, let me try it out. And for me, I also tried out 1 or 2 things to see what works and what doesn't work for my body. Remember, it's still me. I'm still the center of my focus, not anybody. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it. Remember, when I was talking about the why, I mentioned why I'm at it. I'm at it for myself because I want to be the best version of myself. I want to be someone that can stay long. I want to take care of this body long enough for it to help me do what I have been sent to earth to do, or what I live for, to be able to fulfill purpose. So you see, everything boils around, everything is connected. Like there's an interconnection of every single process when it has to do with this. So please, I encourage you, when you're talking about the how of the fasting, remember the how of the weight loss. Remember that it is for the long term. It is for the long term. Don't do things just for 2 weeks and stop. Or habits are formed in 3 days, in 3 weeks, 21 days, 30 days, and we just do it and we stop. It is, let it now become a lifestyle, because some of these diseases are actually lifestyle diseases. So we're looking at lifestyle diseases. There are times when you can binge eat, or when you want to just, catch up with all the things that there are to eat. But while you're catching up, remember that there is a goal. And if you now catch up for another habit forming period, it becomes a problem. Another how for me is the way we replace old habits. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in the next video.